to the people of Kenya and to you, President Ruto, and to the government for the unwavering support that we enjoy from this great nation in our 53 years calling this place our home. Welcome to beautiful Nairobi, the environmental capital of the world, and welcome to the 7th session of the United Nations Environment Assembly, the world's most influential environmental decision-making body. My thanks to the many donors who reach deep and many partners and colleagues who have made this assembly possible, and to all the delegations who have come here in the spirit of dialogue and cooperation. Here at UNEA 7, member states are looking to build on the long history of unity and success, not for symbolism nor show, but to drive a sustainable future, sustainable solutions that are now indispensable for a resilient planet. And why do such solutions matter? They matter because every single member state, every single city, every single business, and every single individual will benefit from a safe climate, will benefit from thriving biodiversity, will benefit from healthy and thriving lands, will benefit from a pollution-free planet. They matter because the environment is not an add-on to development. It is the very foundation on which peace, prosperity, economic growth, and stability rests. Make no mistake, when we undermine that very foundation, we undermine our own future and our own economies and societies. The 3 leadership dialogues, which we are holding today and tomorrow, make this abundantly clear. Human health and planetary health are inseparable. Economic and business and planetary health are also inseparable. The stability of the financial system and planetary health are inseparable. An economy that degrades its own natural capital is, in the end, eroding its own balance sheet. The 7th edition of UNEP's Global Environmental Outlook, which we released this Tuesday, reinforces this point. That report tells us that the environmental challenges have exacted a heavy toll on human, economic, and planetary well-being, claiming millions of lives and costing trillions of dollars each year. If the world continues down this path to extract virgin resources, to rely only on fossil fuels, to destroy nature and pollute the air, land, and water, the damages will and are already quickly mounting, slashing global GDPs and claiming more lives and worsening inequality and burning through the very natural resources that keep our societies and businesses afloat. But the report also reminds us that there is another future that is still within reach. If we invest in a stable climate, if we invest in a healthy nature, if we invest in good and fertile lands, if we invest in a future, in a pollution-free future, then the world can enjoy significant economic gains, avoid millions of premature deaths, lift hundreds of millions of people out of poverty and hunger, deliver greater equity and climate justice, and so much more. Reinforcing environmental action is not a cause to be postponed. It is the very growth strategy and a justice imperative. Excellencies, this is fundamentally what this assembly is all about. Taking decisions that make lives better for everyone, everywhere. It is about making choices that advance national interests today while safeguarding the interests of the future generation and the unborn tomorrow. It is about proving that multilateralism can still deliver in a world that so badly needs these solutions. And to do this, we must perform a delicate balancing act on a global scale, retain the many advantages that development and technology have really brought, and continue to bring the world while avoiding the unwanted side effects. Side effects that can be deadly and disruptive: extreme weather, droughts, degraded nature, unproductive land, toxic air, and so on. Side effects that are becoming more frequent and with greater intensity, and so interconnected that they threaten to reverse the very human development gains that we have made. And because no government can address this alone, because no country can do this on its own. The response must be shared across sectors, across borders, across societies, and across the financial balance sheet at the global level. And this is why everyone here is represented at UNEA 7, business and industry, children and youth, farmers, indigenous peoples, local communities and local governments, non-governmental organizations, the scientific and technological communities, women, workers, and trade unions, and more. And this is also why we have the multilateral environmental agreements and their presidents here, who yesterday gathered to find ways to work closer together and to spark a stronger, faster, and more joined-up action across the environmental challenges that we navigate. This is multilateralism at its very best. Complex at times, of course, but indispensable. Multilateralism has already delivered strong progress on resolutions at this UNEA that member states will now review. Resolutions on safeguarding coral reefs, on the sound management of minerals, which follows the launch of the UN Task Force on the Critical Energy Transition Minerals yesterday, and further resolutions on sustainable solutions through sports and addressing sargassum seaweed blooms and more. Excellencies, colleagues, and friends, we all know that the world is operating in an increasingly fractured geopolitical landscapes beneath skies that sometimes are more darkened by the clouds of the environmental crisis. Yet, it is precisely why, in such time, that environmental multilateralism has to show its value. And here in Nairobi, the global community has again and again over the decade demonstrated that it can deliver when it matters most. From the Vienna Convention and the Montreal Protocol that healed the ozone layer, to the new intergovernmental science policy panels on chemicals, waste, and pollution born out of this assembly, to the ongoing negotiations on plastic, UNEP and UNEA have shown that cooperation across borders and boundaries and across differences and interests is not only possible, it delivers real, measurable results. So I ask you today to look beyond the storm and to fix your eyes deeper on the horizon, a future that by working together, we can secure a stable climate, we can secure a clean and healthy and sustainable environment, and we can secure a pollution-free world that will benefit every nation and every person and every unborn child. No one is saying that the journey is going to be easy, and it will certainly not be short. But delay will not make the change easier. Every year we postpone ambitious decisions guided by science. The cost of inaction grows, and the cost of human catastrophe grows, and the space for solutions shrinks. So, Excellencies, from this assembly, the world expects signals of determination and solidarity. It expects a multilateral system to work, even as you work to improve it under UN 80. It expects you to protect the most vulnerable, not to leave them to face floods and droughts and heat waves alone. It expects you to align your words with actions. So let us assure, when history looks back at this assembly, it will be said that here we chose to act at the scale that these crises demands. Thank you.
أشكر السيدة أندرسون على كلمتها القيمة، وحقيقة موصول الشكر لها ولنائبة المديرة التنفيذية إليزابيث مريما، ولكل فريق العمل الذين ظلوا يعملون على مدار
around the clock to facilitate our work and to provide logistics to bring this very important event to success, as well as bring all the other meetings to success. It is my honor to invite His Excellency Mr. William Samuel Ruto, President
للتحدث أمام جمعية البيئة.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency Abdullah bin Ali Al-Amri, President of the United Nations Environmental Assembly and President of the Environmental Authority of the Sultanate of Oman. Your Excellencies, Heads of State, Vice Presidents, Prime Ministers, Ministers present, Ms. Inga Anderson, Executive Director of the United Nations Environmental Programme, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great pleasure to join you at this high-level segment of the 7th session of the United Nations Environmental Assembly. Your presence here in Nairobi reaffirms UNEA's position as the world's premier forum for shaping collective, decisive, and science-based response to the most urgent environmental challenge of our time. Nairobi is the largest UN compound in the world. It sits on 140 acres. And you will have a taste of environment around this compound. We convene, ladies and gentlemen, only days after the conclusion of COP30 in Belém, Brazil. It was a demanding negotiation and expectations were not fully met, but a tense global climate. Parties managed to keep multilateralism alive and send an unmistakable signal that the green transition is irreversible. Our task here in Nairobi is to translate these signals into concrete, actionable outcomes that address the triple planetary crisis of climate change, biodiversity loss, and pollution. For Africa, climate change is not an abstract debate. It is a daily experience. Just days ago, Kenya was compelled to declare a national drought emergency in 20 counties, leaving our citizens at risk of severe hunger and water scarcity, and as delayed rains and climate stress devastate crops and livestock. Across our continent, from failed harvests to destructive floods, from intensifying storms to conflict worsened by resource scarcity, Africans are paying the price for a crisis they did not create. These extremes are becoming the new global normal. A few weeks ago, Hurricane Melissa struck Jamaica with unprecedented force, causing economic damage that is equal to the country's entire annual GDP. When I spoke to Prime Minister Holness when this hurricane struck, it was clear from his tone that that hurricane was devastating. In Southeast Asia, a single station in Vietnam